All right, people, getting down to it. 2-minute rule. 2 more minutes. We're going to get started. We are at the Service 101 webinar. Today is day 1, and it is about control. So, 2 more minutes. Let some people stream in, and we are going to get started. All right, everybody, welcome to the Service 101 webinar. We are in day 1, and we're going to be talking about how to gain control of your roofing organization by introducing service. Now, I'm going to try to keep this thing to a half hour, and I'm a little bit sick, so I might have to curb things even a little bit more, but we're going to do our best to forge through it. Now, I've never really done these things live either, so I wish I had my teleprompter on the side, but I'm going a la Trump. I'm just off the cuff, and hopefully we're going to do something here that matters. This is really a 3-day event. Today we're going to be talking about kind of the basics of it. Tomorrow we're going to get into service agreements, which I think is a pretty popular topic. I think everybody knows that they need them, but for some reason can't seem to pull that one off. Well, I'm pretty good at that. And then next is the data cell. So we get into a little bit more complex, dealing with some of the bigger corporate clients and talking about some of the success some of my clients have had in the data cell. So let's hop right into it. I guess the first thing we should talk about is who the hell am I? So I think it's pretty critical that when you're taking consulting or training from somebody that you know that they know a hell of a lot more than you, okay? And hopefully I do. I've been in this roofing industry for, 21 years. I have done just about everything. I've torn roofs off. I've loaded them. I have done service. I've ran service departments. I've built service departments. I've sold service agreements. I've been the vice president of sales. I've run companies. I've owned companies. I've been a consultant for over 3,200 building owners in a class action lawsuit regarding phenolic foam roof insulation. I built systems that worked and then ultimately took those business systems and created software around them, which was ultimately FCS control software. So I was the founder of that product, and recently an equity group came in with a big pile of money and they said, hey, we're going to hop in here and do some stuff. And I said, that's cool. I'm going to go find something else to do. So that's where I'm at. I'm here talking to you guys about something that's really easy to me, which is building successful service departments. And I've got a couple of companies down here that I've worked with who I consider to be really some of the staples of success inside of service. And good friends of mine had a lot of success in helping them kind of move from good to great. That's kind of a theme for me. Now, some contributors that we're going to have in this are Guy Akasaki from Commercial Roofing and Waterproofing in Hawaii. Going to shoot in a quick video of him that really talks about some of the things I've been able to do for him. And then Jack Scallo, who I really think has been a model of someone who's understood the data cell from the start. So here we are. We're going to get started. So 21 years in roofing, and my focus always has been the service side of the business. I'm not a huge fan of new construction. You're probably going to figure that out. I know it's a reality. I know it's what a lot of you do and what you're good at. But I've always known that service kind of offered a different path to be able to get to more of a predictable, reoccurring revenue stream. And that has been something that I've really made a career out of. And I think it's really my role to be able to take what I've learned and kind of condense it and allow some of you contractors out there to be able to have some success with it. Again, it's really hard for you, and I understand that, to get some of this stuff put into your company, especially if you have a lot of success in new construction. But it's pretty damn easy for me. So I think between the two of us, maybe we can figure some stuff out. So about my process. So I would love to say that my process is real specific to roofing, but the truth is my processes have everything to do with just being successful in business. And in my mind, everything starts with a goal. And I know any of us can build goals and we can throw together spreadsheets, but the focus that I'm always going to have is going to be to establish a goal that isn't just a random number. That's a number that's achievable. And after we establish a goal, we need to break it down and we need to understand the mechanics of what it takes to achieve that goal. We need to understand what resources are required to achieve that goal. And the way that I typically focus on that is by taking an annual goal and breaking it into a monthly goal, a weekly goal, and then ultimately a daily goal. So if we take that goal and then pass it out to individuals, whether we have in our organization or individuals that we have to go out and obtain, they own a piece of that goal. And that's important, that you have people that are credible and people that you have the confidence in their ability to ultimately achieve their piece of the goal. Because when it all comes down to it, we can say that we're going to live and die by our people, but it's up to us to select the people and to give them the tools to be able to meet the objectives that we put out there. Now, I meet with a lot of owners and presidents of businesses, and we establish goals, and we go through this whole exercise. And I watch them because it's important that you have to put gauges in place and understand whether you're achieving your goals. And oftentimes, they're not meeting their goals. And I call them up and I ask them why. And they say, oh, I can't get him to do this, or it's this system, or it's that system, and all of the day-to-day minutia. But ultimately, it boils down to is you establish the goal. You put the people in place. Own it. The way that you achieve success in anything that you do is to own it, is to decide you're going to make it happen. And that's where most of us fail, is in the day-to-day, hour-to-hour focus that it takes to achieve an annual goal. Yeah, we're busy. We got to do this. We got to do that. But guess what? It's all got to come back to what you need to accomplish to be able to get to where you want to go. As a business owner, you need to focus on 3 critical components that are going to lead you to your success. If you try to handle more than those 3, you're probably going to struggle, and you're probably not going to meet your goals. Now, I'm the first guy that'll tell you that I'm ADHD as hell. and I set goals, and it's very difficult for me to stay focused on those goals. And as I've had sales goals and I've had sales teams, I've always said to myself, geez, I wish I had like some I don't know, guy that every day would be in front of me and saying, no, are you doing this? What do you mean you're doing that? You've got 3 different things to accomplish. Get them done. And then would drill down into my people and make sure that they were achieving those goals. I kind of see that as my role now, that I'm that guy. I'm going to bug the hell out of you, man. We set a goal together. It's important that you achieve it because my reputation's on the line. So I'm going to kick your ass if you don't watch out. So anyways, that's my process. In the beginning of working with any client, the first thing we do is we really evaluate what are the different products that you guys have, and what are the different margins that you're able to achieve with those products. I mean, ultimately, this thing is all about a bottom line number that's relative to the amount of overhead that you guys have. And I think that as I go through this exercise, a lot of owners are very surprised to see that making certain adjustments, whether it's scaling down and doing less new construction, more negotiated re-roof, and a little bit of service, has just an absolute tremendous impact on the amount of money they can make and the amount of risk that they have to take on to be able to achieve that. Now, a lot of this stuff can't happen overnight, but it's important to have that 5-year focus of where you want to go and understand that control comes through that balance. Okay. Next, I want to touch on who sells work within your organization. I just went through a big valuation. Obviously, I went through Shark Tank to have an equity group be able to get involved with my software company, and the focus was valuation and reoccurring revenue within the system. So, if you're like a lot of companies out there, and I see guys out there who really fit into this category, the challenge is that you've got like 1 or 2 individuals within your company who sell like almost all the work. Okay, they're the rock stars or whatever it might be. But the challenge is that they don't truly add value to your company because ultimately they could get hit by a train tomorrow. In other words, the value of your company is built around them. What you've done is you've taken a company and turned it into a law firm. So if it's like Smith and Levy is the law firm, what's it worth? Well, if you sell the company and Smith and Levy don't come with it, it's probably not worth a whole lot. So the focus here is to try to create systems who spread that allow you to spread the burden of creating those sales out, kind of like McDonald's. Okay, McDonald's isn't about 4 executives who sell the work. It's about literally thousands of 18-year-old kids and retirees that push the picture of the hamburger and make sales happen. That is a scalable model. So what we want to focus on is what we can accomplish with service, which is to introduce a balance into your company that balances out the risks that you have to take to earn your money, and then create a reoccurring, predictable revenue that doesn't require you to go out and sell the next $1 million job. As it relates to service, what is service? So, service is, it's relatively new to the roofing industry. The truth is, in HVAC, in plumbing, and different trades, they've been in service for 100+ years, and we've kind of reinvented it. I'd like to take some of the credit for inventing that as early as the late 90s. But the plumbers, the HVAC contractors, each of them focus on a scalable, unit-based model. Now you may say, oh, we got repair crews, we send the repair crews out. Yeah, the guy estimates, does a bid, gets the repairs, and then we go out and send a crew out there. Well, I guess that's service. But the truth is, that's just roofing. It's roofing repairs. Service, I got to get comfortable here. Ouch, my legs. I'm kind of an old man. Services needs to be scalable, and the way that it becomes scalable is inside this unit-based model. Well, what's a unit-based model? Well, I think a unit-based model is just like, I don't know, a Best Buy store. So you build a Best Buy store and maybe you add some Apple products to it. You advertise a certain way, and then you have a level of success. What do you do after that? Well, you open another store, and you open it the same way. It's predictable. You know how much it should sell. You know how much it should profit. And then you continue to scale off of that and build the units. Repair crews are great, but the truth is we need scalable units that we can grow through. Excuse me. So this would be similar to that HVAC van you see on the street. What does he do? He's got a certain number of accounts. He's got a certain amount of work that he can perform. Whether it's changing a fan out, changing the filters, I don't know what the hell they do. But that individual unit is a profit center. Okay? Now, a lot of the HVAC contractors also do large contract work, but the truth is they make their money in that scalable business unit. And typically it's broken up and services a specific geographic area. What this delivers is predictable revenue and predictable profits. Every job that we do is going to be based off of either a T&M, which is typically reserved for strictly leak service, and our ultimate goal is to take that T&M and convert it to contract. Okay? Now, a lot of the things that we do inside a service are based upon our understanding of how we do contracting. Well, the most important and most critical thing that you need to learn is service has nothing to do with contracting. The way you sell it is different. The way you produce it is different. The way you do accounting for it is radically different. Service is performed by individuals who typically would not do well inside the contract side of your business. People in the contract side of your business hammer stuff out, right? They lay out board, get squares done. That's what they do. In service, we slow things down. We're very deliberate. We go out and we do things based upon a client's needs, period. You know, this is really one of the points that I think is important to kind of go through in understanding what service is. I think a lot of times the way people handle services, someone calls them and says, I have water coming in my building, right? I have water coming in my building. Can you stop that? And what we do is we go, okay, I'll send a salesman out. Now, that isn't what they asked. Like, can you imagine if you called them and said, hey, I've got no heat in my house and all my pipes are going to freeze. Oh, okay, we'll send a salesman out. No, in service, it really doesn't work that way. They have a specific need, and they need you to take care of it. So when they say, I've got water coming in my building, they didn't ask you to have a salesman come out. They asked you to have someone come out and correct that condition. Now, what a lot of you guys might do is you might send a salesman out, he'll give a bid, then you go out and you'll do a repair. Well, don't misunderstand what they said to you. They said, I have water coming in my building. I want you to stop it. How do you do that? You send a technician out there. And the technician on T&M uncovers what the problem is and tries to stop the water from entering in the building. Now, he doesn't necessarily make a repair, but he focuses on doing what it takes to stop the water from coming in the building. After that point, you can send a salesman over there and give an estimate on repairing that. Now, some of your customers might not like it when you do it that way. Well, you probably need different customers. The truth is, I've got water coming in, I want you to stop it. It's raining out. We can't do repairs. We're going to go out and we're going to try to stop it. And then hopefully, we're going to be able to take that repair and convert it to a contract. Okay? Now, T&M is great. T&M fits when we're doing leak service. But T&M is always going to be limited on the amount of gross margin that you can achieve inside of that model. And that gross margin may be 50% or 60%, and you think that's a great amount of money. The truth is, the cost of putting these units on the street is way more than you know. The amount of overhead that's involved in a $900 leak is 10 times the amount of overhead that's involved in doing a $300,000 re-roof. Why? 5 people are going to touch that $900 ticket in 3 different systems, and then you have to collect it. It's a very different model, and the profits can't be in the 50 and 60% mark. You have to have profits that are closer to 70, 80, even 100% gross margin. We can go over that in a lot more detail in some of our other more detailed programs. But essentially, we want a scalable, unit-based model that has predictable revenue and profits that come from a standardized price list. We want to use T&M to ultimately upsell work into the contract category to where we can get the profits that we need. So, who are the right customers that we want to seek to build a great service business? There's really a couple different buyers out there. The first is a commodity buyer. Commodity buyer would be like a developer who ultimately builds a building, has a property management firm, and that property management firm makes money with that real estate by essentially charging rent. So when you charge rent, you end up with a pile of money. The cost of maintaining that property, including the roofing, is going to take away from that pile. Okay, so the less we pay for roofing, the less that we pay for HVAC and all those different components, the more profit we make. So it essentially becomes the job of that property management firm to beat up their contractors. Okay, the less they pay for that stuff, the more profit they make. So that's where you get the guys who are ticking and tacking every little hour and your hourly rate and how many hours did you spend and all those different things that we have with some of those more challenging property managers and even the corporate buyers like, say, Target and Walmart, who are pretty good at buying things pretty cheap. And you ultimately become a critical component of the amount of profit that they make. Now, expense buyers are a very different animal. Expense buyers, say like Coca-Cola, they don't make money off of real estate. They make money by selling a bunch of this stuff. And when they sell a bunch of this stuff, they end up with a pile of money. Okay, there's their pile. The amount of money that they keep is going to be based upon their expenses. And their expenses are going to be what it cost them to make this crap and what it cost them to bring it to market, which is going to be marketing and sales and all that fun stuff. Now, the cost of the buildings that produce this stuff is also an element, but it's actually a very small element. In most cases, less than 0.1% of their annual sales is going to go towards manufacturing the actual buildings that do the manufacturing. In a lot of cases, they don't even own them. They're actually leased. So not a real critical element in the buy for them. So what you'll find is they're going to gravitate more towards people who make it easier for them to buy, that make it easier for them to manage that asset. They're focused on on more of the data that it requires them to manage the roofs. They're focused on customer service, and they're focused on how quickly you can respond to what they're doing. Once again, the amount that they pay is not nearly as critical. So why is it that everybody just doesn't work for these companies? Well, unlike commodity buyers that are going to seek you out to do business with you because they're looking for the next guy who's going to do it cheap, you're going to find expense buyers have no shortage of quality, corporate contractors who are vying for the business, whether it's a Nations or a Centimark, who really understand what it is that these people are trying to buy. Now, as you start to have some success with these expense type buyers, you're going to find that your tolerance or your patience with some of the property managers that make you fill out all this crazy paperwork and tick and tack every little invoice that you have, your tolerance for that is going to go down significantly. And you're going to be able to slowly raise your prices, and you're going to see that some of your worst customers are just going to go away. They're going to go try to find the next sucker who's going to do it for cheaper and take the abuse that they're laying out. Okay? I'm not saying that it's a complete switch. What I'm saying is it's about balance, and we talk about control, and we achieve control through balance. So, where do we get customers like this? Well, it's a very different sales approach than you're used to. Once again, they're not going to call you. You're not going to fill an order. You have to seek them out, and you have to provide them with the product that they're looking for. Now, very few contractors really understand what it is corporate buyers are looking for. Very rarely is it about price. It's about the ability to do their job. It's about the ability to spend less time and less resources managing that component that's keeping them from producing where they really make money, which is more Coca-Cola. I think there's a couple of contractors that have really had a tremendous amount of success, who are my clients and good friends who have been able to really understand this model. And one of them is Jack Scallo out of Pittsburgh-based Burns & Scallo. And forget about me talking about it. I'm going to let him talk a little bit about the data cell. Let's roll Jack.
What we realized early on is that we were really selling information more than roofing. So it has provided us is access to decision makers. There's so much information here that their companies need that they get interested. They want this information as well. So they get credit for what we do, which is okay with us. That's where we have value added. We move away from the price equation.
So I think the big line here that really makes sense is they become interested, right? CFOs, C-level buyers, they really don't care about roofing, okay? As much as you think roofing's cool, they don't. They buy roofing the same way they buy carpet, the same way they buy plumbing, the same way they buy everything. But when you give them what they want, which is this information to do their jobs, they become interested. I think that's a great quote. I think that one of the biggest things that you're probably coming to a conclusion on is that I'm probably not going to be able to teach you how to completely revise everything that you're doing in your service department in a half hour. That it's not like building a pizza. It is work, and it takes getting back to the basics of what it takes to drive any initiative, and that is, once again, to establishing a goal, breaking that goal down to make sure that it makes sense and to make sure that we have resources in place to be able to accomplish it, creating systems that can keep us on track and the gauges that can keep us understanding whether or not we're achieving those goals. And then we got to take that goal and we've got to pass it out to individuals within our organization who are capable of achieving those goals. And this is where I feel like my role really comes into all of this, and that is trying to get those goals defined and understood by everybody within your organization, and then working with you to do what your most critical role is in all of this, and that is to own that goal. And the way that I do that is with continued communication to you and talking to you about what's happening. Are we meeting these goals? And when you're not, you're going to hear from me, okay? Because I'm going to monitor your gauges too. And we're going to talk about why you're not achieving these goals. And you're going to have all the excuses in the world. You're busy doing this. You're busy doing this. I could give a shit. When we decide we're going to establish a goal, I'm going to look for a commitment from you to be able to achieve those goals. My reputation's on the line. That when we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it. And I'm going to remind you when you're losing track, when you're getting off track and you're working on something you shouldn't be working on, when you should be working on those 3 critical elements that you manage within your business to reach the goals that you've been looking for. Okay. I'm getting reminded via text that we do need to pay some bills here too. So you may have noticed that there's this gold bar down here that says webinar attendee exclusive savings. And within that, if you push that button, you'll see that we've got a couple of offers for you there. One is an executive online whiteboard session. Typically it's $750. We're offering it for $500 to where we can work with you to be able to really zero in on what you're trying to accomplish in the 5-year and the 10-year, and then come up with a plan to help you accomplish that. And then the other piece that we get asked about quite a bit is our Jumpstart Graphics marketing package, typically $1,500, and we're offering it to the attendees for only $1,250. So that includes, building a custom logo around your system, brochures, service agreements, and website graphics. Click on the bar says click here to order now, and you'll have an opportunity to actually purchase those at the discounted price. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow, and you can't miss out, because we're going to cover service agreements, those mystical elements that so many people understand that they have to have, and so few people are able to truly achieve success with service agreements. Well, I can tell you this. I've helped contractors put thousands of service agreements in place, and we're going to cover every component of having the success, the numbers behind it, what the forms look like, what the agreements look like, how to price them, how to get them done. So check it out tomorrow, same time. See ya.